Hello everyone, my name is Aiko Alonso and this is my Pechakucha short film proposal based on an apparent blessing that turns out to be a curse. Okay, this is me during my proposal last year, and after 5 years of being together, my partner asked me to marry him. And as you can probably imagine, it was a magical night, totally unexpected, with an amazing view of a lake in the middle of the mountains. The truth is that my proposal was far from romantic for me. I spent 3 days hiking in the mountains in the rain, covered in mud. My knees were wobbling, my back issues from sleeping on the floor, my face was swollen from my allergies, and I didn't smell great. And even though I said, yes, I will, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, what the hell are you doing? Suddenly, it was right in front of me. The ring, dual metal, with a design that was hardly exciting for me and that he bought on Amazon days before, represented everything that was wrong with my relationship. The complacency and resignation I gotten used to by saying yes to every idea of my partner, even if it had nothing to do with me. This mix of discomfort and complacency is what inspired my short film Bad Marriage. It tells the story of a young woman who faces the transformation of her fingers, hands, and body after receiving her engagement ring, a terrifying reminder of the reality of being trapped in a future unhappy marriage. Alexandra is a 32-year-old chef who's been trying to make it in a top career successfully. She's compliant, introverted, and often doubts herself. What she enjoys the most is the creativity she puts into every bland dish she makes in the kitchens where she works in, until her imposter syndrome appears and sabotages the recipes and is finally fired. Emiliano, who has the spirit of an old man, has been at the same company for 8 years, and it finally seems like he's on the rise. His love for stability has turned him into a young, routine-driven, boring guy who's addicted to video games, and on weekends he goes for marathons or does some trekking, even though he doesn't have the fitness for it. Yeah, they are both in the middle of their midlife crisis. Alexandra's transformation starts after she gets an engagement ring in the middle of the mountains. Covered in mud, with clothes that have been on for days, with shaky knees and a ring that looks like a toy, she realizes that saying yes to her boyfriend has taken her way too far. Alexandra's mouth races with negative thoughts. Emiliano seems chill and says, "Oh, don't worry, babe. You take care of the beans and I'll go find them. You stay home, run the house, and I'll handle the expenses." Emiliano, I'm a chef. Yes, I'm broke, but I don't want to be a housewife. Do you want to get married or not? Alexandra responds with a tense smile. Yes, of course. Everything's going to be fine. Conformism, complacency, and blindness. The basis of their relationship. Couple arrives at Alexandra's parents' house. The family, led by her grandmothers and a whole army of female friends, throws a celebration straight of a 50s wedding announcement. The ring becomes the center of attention. The women are staring at it with wide eyes and almost rip Alexandra's hand off, causing the ring to get stuck in her hand. That night, Alexandra has a nightmare. The wedding march plays echoing through the church, and she stands at the altar. But she's not alone. Facing her, joined head to head, body to body, is Emiliano and Alexandra, fused together like conjoined twins. One soul, one soulmate, as Sabines might say. In the restaurant kitchen, Alexandra spends the whole day chopping. To her horror, the ring seems to be devouring her fingers, and they look now like they are fused together, joined by a thin layer of skin. They are growing larger and more powerful with every passing moment. Alexandra finally makes her way to a bridal shop to ask for some help, only to find it looks like it's closed. Not giving up, she heads inside. The place is empty. Out of nowhere, a shadow gesture. There's Emiliano facing away from her. When he notices Alexandra's voice, he turns around, and half his face and body are horribly disfigured. In a deadpan voice, he says, "You are my other half. Please, I need beans." Alexandra bolts out of there, completely freaked out, gasping for air, her face twisted in terror. She looks at her right hand and sees her ring and index fingers stuck together with two tiny, creepy heads, talking in an uncomfortably sweet voice. "Oh, darling, remember our first date? Such a magical night." Alexandra stumbles into her kitchen, her eyes racing around, looking for something to help. Her eyes land on the knife block. She grabs it, but the heads start fighting back, shaking like crazy. She slams her hand down onto the chopping board with the meat hammer. Blood splatters all over the counter, bits of bone and flesh flying everywhere. Finally, silence. Alexandra crashes to the floor, holding the bloody stump where her hand used to be. But then Emiliano bursts in, his face going pale when he sees the blood everywhere. Alexandra looks up at him and says, "I don't want to cook your bloody beans, Emiliano, and I'm definitely not marrying you." Bad Marriage is a 10-minute live-action short film conceptualized from a female gaze perspective. It blends dark comedy and body horror, crafted to delve into the terror of conforming to the inevitability of a bad marriage. The tone of Bad Marriage will lean toward black comedy, addressing with seriousness the ridiculous situation behind what is terrifying, aiming to construct a psychological horror narrative with social critique. My proposal's main objective will be to strain the psychological confinement the protagonist is experiencing. The cinematic approach will be guided by the idea of synecdoche. I will focus on the following values: tight shots, wide-angle lenses, shallow depth of field, and primarily handheld camera work. I will aim to construct a film noir atmosphere with strong shadows and high contrast. This will contribute to the dark and nostalgic atmosphere that Alexandra experiences. The universe in which Bad Marriage will take place can be Mexico City, but also London or New York, as it aims to represent the universality of the conflict in an urban and professional environment, something that many women will relate to. My name is Aiko Alonso, and I'm a director and screenwriter specialized in female gaze narratives. I have two successful short fiction films, A Ballad for a Broken Heart and Days of Thunder. This last one has been recognized in Mexico as one of the most awarded short films with gender perspective. And all the story beats were designed by Mexican artist Paulina Fara, specifically for this pitch. Thank you so much for your time. I promise that no ex-boyfriends were hurt in the making of this pitch. Goodbye.